Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Captain David Patel. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching this broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones, buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Good evening. Today we remember and pay tribute to Sergeant Reuben Henry Bates-Brownsword. Reuben Bates-Brownsword was born in Adelaide on the 12th of September 1922 to Harold and Doris Bates-Brownsword. He grew up in Blackwood and attended Blackwood School. In 1930, at the end of second grade, Bates-Brownsword was given a prize along with several other classmates for passing the qualifying certificate examination. He also gained special mention for receiving the most merit credits in the year. He went on to attend Unley High School and represented the school, Australian rules football, cricket and tennis teams. Having passed his leaving examination, he went to work as a lab assistant for F.H. Faulding and Company in Adelaide while studying chemistry part-time at the School of Mines on North Terrace in the city. On the 13th of September 1940, a little over a year after the start of the Second World War, Bates-Brownsword joined the Royal Australian Air Force Volunteer Reserve. By this time, he had completed a 12-month training course in wireless telegraphy and telephony as part of the Commonwealth Defence Radio Scheme. Bates-Brownsword enlisted in Adelaide for service in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 28th of April 1941. After completing his initial training, he was remustered as aircrew and sent to No. 1 Elementary Flying Training School at Parafield in South Australia, where he qualified as an observer. Bates-Brownsword was next posted to No. 1 Operational Training Unit at Bairnsdale in Victoria. On the morning of the 1st of February 1942, Bates-Brownsword and two other trainee wireless air gunners, Sergeants Gordon Clyde Lloyd and Thomas Stryer, were detailed to carry out a gunnery training flight. Shortly after takeoff, the pilot, Sergeant William White, began a left turn. Witnesses later recalled seeing the Beaufort begin the left turn, which continued to become steeper until the aircraft stalled and spun into the ground, killing all four men. The next day, White, Lloyd and Stryer were laid to rest in the Bairnsdale Cemetery, and on the 3rd of February, Bates-Brownsword was laid to rest next to his comrades. He was 20 years old. The issue with Australian-built Beauforts, which had already caused a number of fatal accidents, was not discovered until January 1944 during another fatal crash, when faulty control rods to the tail elevators were seen by crews in nearby aircraft to be unattached. All Beauforts were then grounded until the issue was corrected. Bates-Brownsword's name is listed on the Roll of Honour to my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed beside the pool of refection. He is positioned in the middle row, 6 from the left-hand side. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Reuben Henry Bates-Brownsword, who gave his life for us and for our freedoms in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down in the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.